This is Charlie Kao with TravelMole TV in Madrid at the World and Travel Tourism Council Summit with Ms. Machachi Ramawela, who is CEO of Tourism Business Council of South Africa, representing the business interests of travel and tourism sector. And you know, it was such a pleasure to touch bases with you just now about South Africa's challenges in general, and as I shared with you, I think South Africa is really one of the leaders in travel and tourism, of how it has approached it and dealt with its challenges. But that doesn't mean you don't have challenges, but it's always being able to deal with it. So my question really is, what are the challenges now on the table?
Lovely, Charlie. It's lovely, like you said, to touch base with you here at the Global Travel and Tourism Summit. As I was saying to you earlier, we come here as the Tourism Business Council of South Africa to be part and parcel of the world. The world leaders, business leaders, and the travel and tourism space are here. And as a developing nation, that is very much the forefront, as you say, of advancing travel and tourism in the African continent. It's important that we are here to hear where the world leaders are going, what is the world doing, what are the trends. Now, in terms of us as South Africa, yes, you know, Charlie, where you have growth opportunities and exciting things going on, there's always the opposite side of the challenges we face. So,
of course,
the challenges we're facing in South Africa is the challenges of any developing nation, where you have inequality, the inequality gap growing larger, where we are not able to grow the cake so that everybody can have a piece of the cake. That is a major fundamental challenge that we're facing in South Africa. And so what are the symptoms of that? Because that for me is a fundamental challenge. So all the other things that comes up are just the symptoms or the indicators that there is some challenges here. So what is the first one? The first one is it's the issue of South Africans dealing with the influx of people from other nations, from within the African continent or from other parts of the world. Obviously, people seeking opportunities for better life, for better business opportunities, and some of those people are coming through the legal ways, and then the bulk of them are coming through illegal ways. And so that explains the latest challenge that we have as business, with our government passing a law, a new immigration laws, that is going to make it more challenging for countries that are requiring visas to come to our country. As a business community, we've been speaking with government, trying to find a better way to come with this new regulation, because safety is everybody's concern. So that is a major thing we're doing as a business community right now. The second other challenge has to do with our own people, in terms of how we relate with other people coming to our country. We have been seeing some recent surge of some protest by local communities, mostly from your poor communities, and the challenge there is how best we as South Africans deal with the fact that we are part of the global community, that people will see opportunities in our country, people will want to come and live with us, how we embrace them as a nation and we become one of the nations of the world. So that's the other challenge we're facing. But further than that challenge, the biggest challenge is an infrastructure challenge that South Africa is facing. People have been reporting that you are going to South Africa, you're going to be in the darkness, simply because we're having some energy crisis at the moment, and people are actually blowing it out of proportion, Charlie. I sit in front of you right now, people are thinking, oh, you got a light on in your house? I definitely have a light on in my house. But what has come up in the international media is the fact that we have been having some challenges with our energy supply company called Eskom. They are not able to produce enough power to light up industries and light up our houses. And that challenge, Charlie, is about sustainability of the supply of energy. Not that we are totally in the black. So, and the government had made some provisions a little later that a lot of people will say to make sure we supplement our energy. And let's remember, Charlie, let's put this into context, that the Eskom, the energy producing company in South Africa, which is a state-owned organization, doesn't only produce energy for South Africa use only. We export energy to our neighboring countries.
Oh.
So it is one, people have not put this into context. Everybody's looking at, here's a company that has a glowing history of energy supply with the South Africans, but here we are, they're running into problems. Yes, those problems had to do with forward planning. Somewhere somebody missed the forward planning for Eskom, that the economy of South Africa is going to grow. And so you need to produce energy, you need to have enough water, you need to have enough road infrastructure. So it's not energy which is a challenge alone. It's about how do our planners and our forecasters forecasted the growth of South Africa to make sure that all the infrastructure keeps up with that growth. So one of the biggest fallout, or the one who was caught up, is Eskom. But that challenge of a growing economy is affecting every other infrastructure of South Africa. I mentioned energy is the issue right now, but road is another thing.
Does South Africa, I mean, you know, it's just, if you took the word South Africa out, you could put the name of almost any other country in there, including the United States. I mean, you know, we have power problems, you know.
Yeah,
our power grid, it goes out because it's so old, okay? Maybe we've got enough power plants, but it doesn't do any good if the power grid doesn't work. Roads, they're really bad. Right? So it comes down to priorities of whether you're going to put money in for those things, and that takes time. So I gather what you're saying, well, those are major challenges, you brought them up, for travel tourism, representing the travel industry's interests, that the industry has had to look after its power supply, water supply, and how to get people, you know, to their places, and get frustrated that there's a lot of places that can't develop, even if the money was there to develop it, because there's no infrastructure. Yeah, is that about the size of the frustration? So it's extra costs they have to bear when they think should be the government providing, you know, sustainable and reliable electric water. But otherwise, I want to make sure that the tone of this interview is right. Everything's fine. I mean, Durban has been up and coming the last few years in global recognition as becoming one of the top tourism attractions. That's quite recent that I've seen. Of course, Cape Town always has been. Of course, you still have the legacy of a damn successful World Cup, and the electricity didn't go down, you know. Okay, you had diesel powered, which I didn't like, electric things there, but they didn't have to fire them up too many times. So it sounds like big challenges, but as pretty much all developed or developing countries go through with limited resources nowadays. The private sector that you represent, it does lobbying as well with the government. And how is that lobbying going? Because it comes down, when you go and you talk to the powers to be about needing to get the infrastructure addressed, about getting reliable power and water, what are you hearing right now?
Well, Charlie, let me start with the positive. You said there's always an upside. Yeah. So let me tell you the upside about South Africa. I must tell you, I'm excited to be living in South Africa. I think we have lots of opportunities from the economy, for that matter, and for the business community in particular. You mentioned Durban. I've been watching all the global recognition that has been coming to that city, and the kind of work that is going in that city in terms of improving, innovating its tourism attractions and offers. So things are really going well. And of course, Charlie, you mentioned the South Africa's standing in the world from a conservation point of view. We have a challenge of the population of rhinos at the moment, but we're busy discussing with our partners on a global level of how do we overcome, because we've overcome this before, and I'm sure we're going to overcome it with our partners in the world. But I also look at the city of Johannesburg. I look at the master plan of what they are planning to do, almost like the style of what is happening with Singapore, what is happening with Dubai, to make it a city-state, and making it Africa's hub for business, for economics, for fashion. That people need to look up to that, but embracing the rest of the continent. So there's a lot of things that are looking up to. Getting to the question of how is lobbying going for private sector, despite telling what one will pick up some snippets here and there in terms of almost people talk about the growing divide between government and the private sector. I would like to say that there is a growing togetherness. You know, in South Africa, there's a word called Mmat&Aring hate. It's like the coming together. It's an Afrikaans word. And we're coming together in the sense that we're having a government that is understanding the needs of business, and mostly because we have a lot of business organizations that are working closer with government. So if we, the traditional representative of business, are not getting the message across, there's other structures that are closer to government that have an understanding of bridging the gap between the business and government that are working towards that. You know, there's a lot of organizations, you know, in South Africa that advance the issues of business, communities, and so with all that, we are finding that business is advancing the interests of business, but we're also bringing communities' interest in it. We're bringing the developmental aspect of our country in line, because we understand that we need to sit in front of government and ask the issues, things that are required for business. Government will want to hear what is it that we're doing to help them with their own issues of reducing unemployment, making sure we have an inclusive economy in South Africa. So our lobbying is going well, Charlie, because we're embracing the issue of inclusive growth of the South African economy, and we advance, we're moving together. We would love, of course, our government to be a little bit more embracive. The rest of cabinet, I look at South Africa in particular, that we still have the lingering thing that the rest of cabinet does not have the appreciation of the travel and tourism industry and how broad it is. That we're such a big church that's the one stumbling block that we need cabinet. And with our new minister, we said to him, please explain to cabinet how tourism works, so that they understand that one part of government, when they pass a particular legislation or policy, it's ripple effect in the tourism industry. That's the only thing we need to pass on, and I think we're going to be winning
I
this.
think so too. Okay, I'm going to give it a try. Matsatsi, thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you.
My pleasure, Charlie, as always.